Gas prices have been plunging around the country, with the national average falling in 24 of the past 30 days to just over $2 a gallon, and that's on average. More here in San Diego, of course.
Of course.
Because we're
just special.
Right.
Joining us on the KOGO News Live line is oil industry project manager David Taylor. And David, does it look like we're going to drop below $2?
I really think you probably will. It's probably going to be in, I'd say first quarter next year, but there's an opportunity for that to happen.
Now, this is great for consumers, but not so much for the oil and gas industry. What are the repercussions there?
Well, I live in Texas, and so we're right in the heart of it. And, you see a lot of people losing jobs, and that's kind of a frustrating portion. But I think there's always a silver lining. I think it's great that consumers get to have, especially during the holiday season, a little bit extra money in their pocket. But we always have to think, what is the cost of that opportunity?
Well, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
This is so cyclical. I mean, up, down, up, down. We're on a downward trend, but how long can that last?
Well, we've talked several times over the last year and a half, and each time we have this conversation, I feel like it's almost the end, right? When's the bottom? When can OPEC quit pumping out oil and thinking this is going to be okay for everybody? But it just keeps on going. So what I'm hoping is that we find some sort of a bottom early or middle of next year. So in my opinion, it should be around 70. I think your gas prices are going to be low for a little while. I think it's a beautiful complement to kind of a troubled time. But what we're also finding is that this is a great time to invest into oil. It's something that, when production is consistent and we're finding that the pricing is low. So it's basically like real estate. This is the time when we might see some good positive gains. And I think that the United States is a great job of producing oil and being independent for once, which is kind of lovely.
Now, let's talk a little bit about that, because Saudi Arabia apparently is just going to keep pumping out oil, and apparently that is to try to drive American companies out of business, because, let's face it, we're their competition for our own market.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. But what they're finding is that we're pretty resilient even in this time, too, which is every time that they cause the prices to go lower, we find a way to actually improve efficiencies and to drive up production, even though we're not trying to. So whenever things balance out, they've ended up making us extremely independent. And I think if we can ever export oil and get it out into the marketplace, they've found themselves a pretty good adversary.
Do you think there will come a time when we'll hit $1 a gallon?
I definitely do, and I don't know if it's ever going to happen in California.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. But I do know that, like, even in Indiana, it was $1.39.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. So when you say $1, yeah, I absolutely believe that to happen, and that hasn't happened since the 90s. Wow. So I think it's crazy.
It is indeed, but for those, as you said, for those who are out there trying to do a little Christmas shopping, they're pretty darn excited about it.
Well,
absolutely. And then also think about the people like UPS and the airlines. I mean, hopefully those savings will pass down to us as well. So there is always light at the end of the tunnel, but for me, I would like to see oil prices stabilize and jobs being, where people can think about what they're going to buy for Christmas instead of worrying if they're going to have a job.
For those of us in San Diego, how low do you think it could potentially get?
Well, it's all about the state taxes, and I think you guys will probably be, I think you'll see the high dollar.
Oh, you mean
now?
What, you mean like $1.80, $1.90?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you might even be as lucky as $1.50 in the next quarter.
God, that hasn't really happened since I was a kid. And I grew up in Odessa, and I remember when gas was 69 cents a gallon. So.
I go out there all the time, and it's getting closer out there, too.
Wow.
That is amazing.
All right, oil and gas industry expert David Taylor. David, thank you for joining us this morning, and that is potentially some very good news for us.
It is indeed.